The Chicago Bears had a busy Tuesday after not only hiring Thomas Brown as the passing game coordinator, they also hired Chad Morton as the running back coach. We're going to talk about Chad Morton, his resume, what he can bring to this team. We're also going to talk about why the Thomas Brown hire is a great hire by the Chicago Bears, despite how the Carolina Panthers played last season. We're also going to look what this could mean for Justin Fields and talk about the importance of the Senior Bowl and why the Chicago Bears have found some really good talent in the Senior Bowl, and there's reason to think that's going to continue this year. We're going to get into all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host, Sir Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today. So the Chicago Bears have made a series of hiring. Basically, at this point now, the coaching staff is basically completely filled on the offense and defensive sides. This is kind of what I expected. I thought that this would be done by the end of the week. The Bears hired Thomas Brown officially as the passing game coordinator yesterday, but then we also later in the evening made another signing to a coach. Chad Morton is now coming on as the running backs coach for the Chicago Bears. Now, the one thing about this guy is he did get his career started off with playing running back, and he also coached for the Green Bay Packers as a special teams assistant from 2010 to 2013. We're 10 years removed from that, so I'm going to give it a little bit of space. The fact that they hired a former cheesehead, He's spent more times than other teams. So, when it comes down to it, he was the running backs coach for the Seattle Seahawks from 2015 to 16. That was a promotion after he initially came to that team in 2013, working in a similar role in the special teams. He then was promoted to running back coach, and that pretty much maintained with that. Now, the Seahawks did have a bottom 5 rushing attack, so I know there are going to be some Bears fans that ask, like, why do we bring in a guy who wasn't necessarily part of a great rushing attack, things like that. I'll say this, is that Chad Morton, the fact that he's worked with Shane Waldron before, there's a lot to be said there. And we got a already solid enough running game that hopefully it's not going to hurt the Bears too much, the fact that Chad Morton hasn't necessarily had some great running attacks per the league standard or whatever else it is. But the Bears get another coach in here. They've now fleshed out their coaching staff, and we'll see what that's going to mean for the Bears. Now, hiring in Thomas Brown yesterday, there were a lot of Bears fans that asked, well, considering where the Carolina Panthers were, why are we excited about this? And I want to talk a little bit about that because I understand the questions there. I even got a text message over on the mailbag line about it. And, there's a lot that goes into a team having success. And it doesn't always mean that the coaches of those, the coordinators are one of the reasons for that. When you look at it, he eventually, he came over to the Panthers in 2023, was named as their offensive coordinator. And while it was heralded as a really good pickup by the Carolina Panthers, it just wasn't a good pick. He wasn't calling plays under Frank Reich. And then on top of that, him and Brown didn't have one of the long relationships like he does have with Shane Waldron coming from that same coaching tree. They had two completely different styles on top of that. Then they drafted Bryce Young, who was kind of too small to make up for some of the things. Still, I think he's going to do well eventually. So Thomas Brown wasn't necessarily set up in the best position. But you got to look at this guy was heralded as one of the best OCs in the league and a big hire. So the fact that now he's taking a step back, he's going to be the passing game coordinator. I think this is going to help a lot as well. And then when you look at it, this is a guy who has made the most out of running attacks. And even though he doesn't have the title of running backs coach, I do think he's going to help a lot. Sean McVay is somebody who's really good with that passing game. We already know that. He's one of the better passing coordinators in the league. You now bring in Thomas Brown, who is the passing game coordinator, but has his specialty in working with running backs, being a former running back himself. So I think that the overall symmetry on that offensive staff is going to be by committee. Yes, these coaches have specific roles and titles, but I think that considering they're coming from the same coaching tree, considering they've been on the same staff before, it's going to be more of a collaborative effort. And Thomas Brown is a really good hire by the Chicago Bears, despite him coming from the Carolina Panthers. And, I just wanted to spend some time talking about that a little bit because there were serious concerns that Bears fans had about what Thomas Brown was really going to bring here and if he was a good coach or if maybe he's taking this job from somebody he used to coach with as kind of a give me. And so Thomas Brown is a really good hire, a really, really, really good hire, and you want to build that depth and develop. And I know some people said it took umbrage with my wording of saying that the Bears are setting up a succession plan. And I'm sorry, but great franchises do that. Not necessarily they're saying, hey, this guy's absolutely going to be a head coach for us or our next offensive coordinator, but you're getting people in the building. You're having a stacked coaching staff to where if this team is having that success, you're not going to have to do this whole big search again if Shane Waldron does end up leaving, right? You have somebody who maybe can take over that offensive coordinator position. You get them in your building, get a chance to work with them hand in hand, see what they can bring. And I think that Ryan Poles is doing what he's done with the team to a degree, setting us up for success now and take a step up now, but also some things in the future with some of the players the coaches that we now have on this staff for the Chicago Bears. And I really like the overall thought process behind that. Now, as always, with anything that happens in signing a new coach and as a passing game coordinator, a lot of people now have asked, what does this mean for the future of Justin Fields? And I've seen some of you guys in the comments that say, oh, this absolutely means Justin is gone. You would have said that regardless, no matter what the signing was. Some people will say, oh, this absolutely means Justin Fields is staying. You probably would have said that regardless of what the hire was or stuff like that. But I think everybody needs to slow down on the thought process of thinking that these moves indicate exactly what they're going to do with it. I don't think anything that the Bears have done guarantees that they're moving on from Fields or guarantees that they're bringing in Caleb Williams or guarantees that Fields is staying. Nothing says that right now. I need everybody to kind of take a breath, chill out, sit back, and just watch Ryan Poles and this staff cook. When you think about it, they brought in now Thomas Brown, somebody who has little to no passing experience, but he's a running back, right? With that said, and he's a guy that's in charge of the passing game. He's taken on a position that was held by Tolbert, who, listen, he was terrible. So, we're definitely doing better than that. And he's being paired with an offensive coordinator in Shane Waldron that's best known for working with quarterbacks, that's rehab quarterbacks, things like that. So reading too much into the situation and scenario, I think you're doing too much. Kerry Joseph hired as a QB coach as well. And he's done that all the way back to college. He's been that guy who's worked with quarterbacks. And so, yes, there are signs that you can point to and things that you can pull from to say that the Bears are going to do this or the Bears are going to do that. And like I've said with most things, the truth literally lies somewhere in the middle. We got to stop having narratives over facts. And that is for people who are both Justin Fields supporters or Caleb Williams supporters or wherever else that you may fall. We got to stop having these rationalized thought processes between anything. I really do think that while Ryan Poles, Matt Eberflus may have an idea of what they want to do, that decision has been far from made. So anything that you're reading into this, meaning that this coach signing means that, this coach signing absolutely means that, you got to pump your brakes. You're tripping a little bit too much on that one. Nothing means that. There are positives and negatives to both sides. And like I said, you guys know, I'm a Justin Fields guy. I would like to see what he looks like with a better offensive line and more weapons, but it's about making the right decision. And that's what Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren and Matt Eberflus have to do this offseason. And they're doing that due diligence. Until they work out these players that are in the draft, there's no decision that's going to be made. Or until the number 1 overall pick is traded, there's no decision that has been made yet. We got to stop looking at these things and trying to read the tea leaves and thinking that it absolutely means anything. If anything, what this team has done, what this front office has done with this coaching staff is set up a coaching staff that's going to be able to get the most, hopefully, out of a quarterback, regardless of the direction that you're going to go. And that's just the truth of the matter as it stands right now. I get it. Everybody has their hopes. Everybody has what they would love to see the Chicago Bears do. And you're fine and fair to have that. But when you look at these things and try to say that it absolutely means one thing or another, you're missing the truth and trying to push a narrative forward that we don't even know is accurate. So that's just something that I want to point out there, not to be on a high horse or anything. I know it's fun. It's going to be part of the conversation all offseason on what's going to happen with Justin Fields, what the Bears are going to do with their quarterback. That is the biggest story that's kind of surrounding the Bears, especially now that the coaching staff is done. And the national media is playing off that. They're playing off Bears fans who have these thought processes one way or another. And listen, we'll see. We'll see. I think regardless of what they've done or what's going to happen in the future, the Bears have set up any quarterback that's coming to the Chicago Bears to have solid coaches around them that are going to develop them and hopefully put them in better situations. And that's all you can ask for from a front office. We don't have control over which way this front office goes. If it goes to stay with Justin, cool. Let's if that results in wins, let's rock with it. If they decide to go a different place, whether we agree or disagree with it, they decide to go Caleb Williams, Drake May, whoever. If that results in the Bears becoming a winning franchise, that's all it comes down to. Don't let these people, both the national media and some Bulls content creators, make you feel like, oh, you're wrong if you don't feel like this. Yeah, shut the fuck up. At the end of the day, you're right to have your own leanings. You're right to have the player that you would love to see in your team's uniform. But you got to also be open to the fact that maybe that isn't the route that this team's going to go, and it doesn't mean that the team can still have success. It's all about finding the right combination of things. It's all about finding the right path to go. And that's something that Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren are on top of, and we'll see where it ends up this offseason. Now, a thing coming up is the Senior Bowl, right? And the Senior Bowl has been a place lately for the Chicago Bears that we find really good talent in. And I want to talk about the talent that we have found recently in the Senior Bowl because, listen, when you look at it, the Bears, we talked about it last year. Me, Bobby, and C-Dub talked about the Senior Bowl and a lot of the prospects that were in that Senior Bowl that could end up becoming Chicago Bears. And so when you look at we're just going to go to 2023. Darnell Wright was a player in the Senior Bowl last year that we ended up drafting in round 1. Tyreek Stevenson was another player in that same Senior Bowl that we ended up drafting in round 2. Zach Pickens, round 3 pick. Guess where? In the Senior Bowl. Then Roschon Johnson, a player that has some big promise here in Chicago. Another player that we got or that we initially scouted from that Senior Bowl. So Tyson Bagent, another one. He goes undrafted, but the Bears signed him after the draft, but another player who is in that Senior Bowl. The Bears have shown, especially when we have coaches on the staff of the Senior Bowl, that we will recruit from that Senior Bowl. We will go in there and find prospects in that Senior Bowl, and that's really good, especially later in the draft where some of those seniors fall. So do not be surprised if there are some prospects' names that are in that Senior Bowl that end up becoming Chicago Bears. Now, we have a different offensive staff in there. Their methodology may be a little bit different, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if you see us take 2 to 3 players at the minimum from the Senior Bowl this year, and we'll talk about those prospects when me, C-Dub, and Bobby all get together. There's a Bulls game tonight, so we won't be able to stream live tonight, but we may be able to stream live tomorrow. We'll break down some of the prospects in that Senior Bowl, so be on the lookout for that. But before we go today, I do want to get into one voicemail today. This one's from a faithful here. This one's from Fred.
Hey, yo, Hayes, what up, man? What's going on? This is your boy Fred, man. Hey, man, I just want to call in to let you know, I like the hiring the Bears did with the defensive coordinator, Williams, and then plus he come with that defensive lineman experience as well to get the best out of our D-line, especially with our deep tackles, because we definitely need that, you know what I'm saying? Because that'll make our D-line better and get our sack numbers up for the new season as well. And hopefully that he'd be aggressive and get turnovers as well and have our defense playing smart ball as well, because we definitely need it. And I also like to train Washington hiring as well, too, because we definitely need offensive coordinator that know how to get players and not adjust other teams and put our offense in the right position to succeed and win, because we need that as well. So I'm not entertaining these dumb idiots with this draft Caleb Williams bullshit. Because you can't entertain people who don't have common sense with it. That's fact. So I'm just ready to see this team, you know what I'm saying, the get to that playoffs. And the North and everything, I'm going to watch the Super Bowl, but I really don't even care because watching the same Super Bowl we watched years ago when these two teams played against each other. So, but I'm just looking forward to the offseason, the draft, to see what we're going to look like, with who we're going to get. Well, I know we're going to get Marvin Harrison Jr., so because the Steelers definitely need some weapons in that line. And I'm okay with the Bears getting another left tackle and getting another center. And probably to get 2, some good solid guards that can come in and block. Because we all know Nate Davis, lazy ass. I'm ready for that motherfucker to get up off my team. I'm not even going to bullshit about that one because he's lazy and he's trash. Don't like to practice, but he want to play in the game. And why I think another guard just for Tevin Jenkins, because, when Jenkins healthy, he's good to go. But when he go down, we got to have somebody that can fill in them guard positions as well, too. And get us another solid, backup right tackle as well. And I'm okay with us getting another safety because Eddie Jackson got to go. because he ain't showed us shit. All you showed us is you just had one interception. He don't tackle. He don't make plays like that like he did before he got the contract. So we get us another safety, another end, and weapons around Justin Fields and get a line, we good. You know what I'm saying? The Bears going to be a problem. And just to let everybody know, we coming. So I'm saying, you heard it from me first. We coming. So motherfuckers got to be ready, goddamn it. Chicago up, fair down, or nothing.
All right. Great voicemail there from Fred, man. And here's what I'll say. I think a lot of people like the Eric Washington hire. I think it's a really good hire for the Chicago Bears. I think it's going to be one that definitely helps develop a lot. I think he's going to bring that that development to the defensive lineman for sure. I think that you can really bet on that. I like Eric Washington. I like the hire. I like his mindset. And I like the fact that players really do respect him. And I think that says a lot, especially for a team that you're looking to develop. He's been over that defensive line. One of the areas that we need to see the most growth from. Yes, we have Montez Sweat there as a building block. We got Javon Dexter, Zach Pickens as two players that really do need to develop. And I would not be surprised if Eric Washington is a big part of their development. I also think that, I talked about how he likes to rotate out. He likes to keep everybody fresh. He likes to have depth on that defensive line. And I think because of that, it may force, not to force like it's bad, because I think that we've done it anyway, but this Ryan Poles and the Bears front office to really flesh out that defensive line more than what it was last year, right? There's also some players that maybe you look at sticking around. Does a Dominique Robinson stick around, something like that? But I like this for the development piece of it. I like it for the mindset piece of it as well. I like all of that. I really do like what the Bears have done now with this coaching staff and all the mentality in that a lot of these coaches bring. I think is going to get the best out of the Chicago Bears defense next year as well. And that's something that we all want to see if you're a Bears fan. So really good there. As far as the Marvin Harrison Jr., you guys know I've been talking about that for a while now. Marvin Harrison Jr. would be my pick. It is the player that I want the Bears to walk away from. It is the player that I think is going to ends up being the best player out of this draft. But just because I think that doesn't mean there's still some really good wide receivers in this draft that the Bears could go with if they decide to not go with Marvin Harrison Jr. But he is the guy that I really would love to see in a Chicago Bears uniform. On the opposite side of DJ Moore, I think at that point you may even look to keep Darnell Mooney. He can be even more dangerous with having two wideouts on the opposite sides of him while he's in the slot. I think that can be really fascinating, especially in the Shane Waldron-led offense that can really help the Bears a lot. So we'll see where the Bears end up going, though. There's a lot of things at their disposal. And what they can get for that number one overall pick is something that I'm sure is weighing heavily in the back of their minds throughout all of this as well. But yeah, at the end of the day, I like what Ryan Poles has done. We are 3 weeks from our season since our season ended, and we've already completely revamped our offensive coaching staff. We got a new defensive coordinator in here, and we now have pillars in place that you think that you can rely on to really help develop this team and get us further. And I got to give my hats off to Ryan Poles for being able to do that. He has really played chess very well so far in the offseason. And if this is at all setting the stage for what free agency and the draft could look like, we could be seeing a huge offseason for the Chicago Bears. But guys, as always, let me know what you think on all of the topics down below. What do you think about Fred's voicemail as well? Are you excited about Eric Washington? Are you excited about Thomas Brown? Are you excited about what this could mean for the future of the Bears overall? Listen, it was a rough season. We did improve, but now we've improved coaching staff. Now let's go out there and start getting ready to improve this roster. And if that happens, going to be a big night for this, a big season for the Chicago Bears, man. Make sure you guys are following the show at Chi Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-27. No, that's wrong. Why do I keep giving the wrong number? The number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.